I'm very, very happy to be with all of you. Normally, on the subject of innovation and how do you create a culture of innovation, I take almost 45 minutes to 1 hour. But today, ET has given me a challenge to do it in 20 minutes. So I'll try and do it. Just now, I spoke to them and I said maybe you can extend it by 5 or 10 minutes if need be. So I'll see how I am able to cut down my talk to a shorter duration. But I started at a very young age, at the age of 20, and joined a family organization in the heart of commodity markets in Masjid Bandar, completely family managed. And there are no professionals. So I started looking at different businesses. One of the business was edible oil, which was unbranded business. And we said that can we convert that business from unbranded to branded? We had these two brands, Safola and Parachute, but sold in minute quantities in certain parts of Maharashtra, Gujarat, and some cities like Bombay and Delhi as far as Safola is concerned. So out of sheer curiosity, I started traveling, and I took a car from, my first trip was starting from Nagpur to all the way up to Jalgaon, and retailing, appointing distributors. Those days, there were no hotels in these small towns, so I have stayed after appointing distributors, stayed at their houses and things like that. So actually did a lot of work in the marketplace, and I think that was great because that gave me an idea in terms of how the whole system operates. Of course, the sales system has changed dramatically over a period of time. But my initial years of actually operating in the marketplace gave me a very solid grounding in terms of how the business is being conducted. And more importantly, as the business grew, we had to advertise. Didn't have any knowledge of advertising. I'm just a commerce graduate. So after appointing the agency, I said, now first thing is you have to teach me. So I spent almost 1 week or so with, at that time, Clary and McCann. And just understood how advertising is done. So I'm saying it's very important to understand, get a grip of what's happening at a grassroots level. But if I look back at my own journey, and if I had to identify what has worked for Marico, and why have Marico's brands, and each and every brand of ours is a market leader in that particular segment, has done well, I can identify that innovation has played the most important role. Innovation stroke pioneering initiative. In a way, you can also call it innovation because we are the first one to launch a certain product or a brand in a certain segment. For example, Safola was the first one to launch in a premium healthy edible oil segment on a health platform, and we stayed with that platform over many, many years. And we are the market leaders in that particular segment. So identification of the right categories where we can innovate and where we can succeed is the most important thing for any organization. And that's how you create a right to win. For example, we are not present in mainline shampoos, hair conditioners, though we are in hair care quite a lot, because we don't see ourselves becoming market leaders. We can't uproot multiple brands of Levers, Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal, and say that we can overtake them because they have global R&D, their global aspirations in terms of becoming market leader. And there is nothing in the world I can really impact them in becoming a market leader. But in that segment, we acquired a small brand from Procter & Gamble, which is an anti-lice shampoo. It's a small 40-50 crore segment. We are the market leaders. We have something like 80% market share. But that's where we identified that we can win. Even in hair care, we are saying that we can win in pre and post wash, but not in wash segment. So whole host of hair oils which can be used before wash or post wash, hair serums, hair creams, hair gels, is something where we are present and we are market leaders. So I think innovation really appealed to me in a brand like Parachute, where through sheer distribution, we got something like 15% market share. Our challenge was how do you become a market leader in a very large category of the opportunity. So we said that can we convert the market? At that time, the whole market was in tins. We converted the whole market in plastics. Plastics is cheaper than tins. It's more convenient to pour. It's more attractive compared to a tin. And we came with a concept of, okay, let's do it convert the market. But when we went to the consumer, they loved it. But when we went to the trade, and complete rejection, saying that we will not stock. And this is before the launch, your product in plastics, because apparently 10 years prior to us, somebody else had launched, which was a complete disaster. It had led to rat biting and, the product, not only product getting destroyed, but the shop also getting damaged. So you never give up, when you have an innovation, never give up. So we went back to our drawing board and we designed a bottle, which was a round shaped bottle. We went to the packaging department, ensured that there is no oil on the outer surface of the bottle. And we actually tested that in a rat cage for a day. And just so happened that nothing happened because of the round bottle and the rats could not make out that there was oil in the bottles. So with that, we took pictures and gave it to our field force. So innovation, many times they say it's ideation is very important. Testing that idea through inciting, and I am a big believer in individual inciting and to some extent less belief in structured market research. You can do market research, I'm not against it. But there is no shortcut to individual inciting. But that's where you will actually go into consumers' mind in depth. And you have to, many times the consumer themselves don't know what they want. And if you probe the consumer with the right set of questions in terms of insights, what insights you will get far better results than just doing a structured market research. So we did all that, and then it took 5 years for us to convert the whole market from tin to plastics. Because plastics is cheaper, we were offering the same product at a much cheaper price point. We advertised more in terms of convenience of using plastics, and our market share grew from 15% to straight away 50% over 4-5 years. And it's a very large segment. We pack something like 4-5 crore bottles every month. We realized after a few years that Bangladesh is again a market where the whole market is dominated in tins by local brands. So we said that can we do the same thing what we did in India? And we actually went to Bangladesh. Whatever we did in India over 5 years, we were able to do it within 3 or 4 years. We have an 80% market share. We are the market leaders there. And we are the largest Indian company, I think, in Bangladesh, doing turnover of more than 1,000 crores or so. But the key thing is to identify what will work, test it out, do inciting, prototype it initially in a small kind of market, and then scale it up, I'll give one more example. While doing inciting, prototyping, experimenting, innovating, there are bound to be failures. And we've had multiple failures. So my first advice to all the marketeers is, don't be afraid of failures. If you are afraid of failures, you will stop taking risks, you will stop experimenting, and you will just not progress. And there is a limited things you can find out from market research. There is no shortcut to prototyping in a marketplace, test marketing, you may call it prototyping. And test out the hypothesis. It's just not the product, the brand name, the pricing, the packaging, and so on. So it's very important to take experiments, not be afraid of failure. And if you want to de-risk financial, then do a prototype on a small scale. And these days, there are opportunities of prototyping in a modern retail chain or in one small town and test out the hypothesis. Treat that prototype like a live market research. Talk to the consumers, their reactions to all whatever you're offering in the product. Just to talk about one more failure which we had about 10 years back. Saffola is a brand which is marketed on the health platform. And we said that the awareness for health weight is increasing. So 10 years back, we said that can we convert the snacks market, which is a fried snacks, to a baked snacks market. And we prototyped that product in Bombay, baked snacks. The biggest mistake we made was that we thought it was under the brand name Saffola. So health should come first and taste second. Now in a snack segment, which is an impulsive buying segment, you want to have a snack with your tea or a drink, consumers just rejected. Taste is first, health is second. So we had to withdraw the product. But the biggest learning for that came in when we launched our Saffola oats. So we launched plain oats. Again, same issue of stagnation. We were not able to get market share because we didn't have a differentiator compared to Kellogg's or Quaker. And we said that can we, through consumer insighting, we realized that Indians like savory breakfast. So can we do a Maggie to oats? So we launched a series of what you call Safola Masala oats, but we went overboard on taste. So we profiled the tastes for each and every state in India, because each state in India has a different kind of taste need. And we developed products looking at the need of that particular state. And that has really taken off well. We have created a new category of masala oats, which is today, I think, about 300 crores. We have an 80% market share. But the key thing is, yes, we learned from our mistakes, did insighting, and developed a product which was tasty. For food, I think taste is the most important thing. That was the realization we had. So how do you create a culture of innovation on a perpetual basis was a big challenge. And when Marico was formed in the year 1990, we said that innovation has to be done by each and every individual. It's not done in R&D labs. It's not done by a brand manager. Of course, any individual can think innovation, but most of the time, innovative ideas have to be discussed across functions and across organizations, because you may have an idea, but you may have a blind spot. So when you discuss with somebody else, you get some new insight. So we wanted to create an open culture where people could talk to each other without any organizational boundaries. For example, if I have to talk to somebody else in some other function, I don't need to go through the route of going through their boss and like that. I can meet that person directly and talk about my ideas. So first of all, have an open and a trusting culture where people are encouraged to talk openly to each other without organizational boundaries. Have a structure which is a very flat structure. Because if you have a flat structure, then you remove the bureaucracy within the structure. And young people are empowered at a much younger age. But for empowerment to occur and to succeed, you need very good quality talent. So from then onwards, we've been investing in management trainee program. So we have a very flat structure in terms of hierarchies and backed by very good talent, because if the talent quality is not good, then that empower may backfire, because the person who has been empowered may not be able to do a good job. And then we said that apart from the quality of talent, we also want diversity. Just not gender diversity, but diversity in educational background, diversity in terms of geography diversity, because when people are diverse, they come from different background, the way they are brought up, and they bring in a different angle to any problem or any issue, So diversity plays a very, very important role in driving innovation. So you have a flat structure, good quality talent, diverse, but that itself is not enough. You need to have openness, you need to have trust. So people should be able to trust that if I have a good idea and if I talk to somebody else, I can trust that person. If I want to keep it confidential, because many times some very interesting ideas you may not want to talk openly until you launch the product, because somebody else can take away that idea and run away with it. So then what happens after that? So we said that we have to encourage people to experiment. And we should not punish failures. If I punish somebody who has experimented by not giving the right increment or not giving a promotion, though that person may be deserving a promotion, then you are sending a very strong signal in the organization that risk-taking is not, or failures are punished. And that is the death knell of innovation, because people have to take risks, people have to experiment, they have to go on thinking differently. So the role of the top management in all this is to go on asking for innovations. For example, if a brand is making a presentation to me, the brand plan for the next year, normally I would ask, what is the innovation you plan? And they would also expect that I would ask that question. So they have to be ready in advance. And innovation is just not as far as brand is concerned. It cuts across all functions within the organization, whether it is sales, the way you advertise, the way you distribute your products. Even in manufacturing processes, there can be innovation. So we want to create an innovative culture on a perpetual basis. And I think that's the bigger challenge. So the top management has to go on demanding innovation. And to support innovation, we also have what we call our innovation awards. So every year we invite entries from within the organization if somebody has innovated. And on an average, we get 10 to 15 entries every year. and they are evaluated by an independent jury within the organization. The award winners are called to a function like this, and we have a function at each and every of our location, including all our factories, including all our sales region, international markets, head office. And the award-winning teams, they talk about what made that innovation happen. And most of these are teams of 4, 6, 8 individuals who work cross-functionally and made that innovation happen. So when you look at innovation on a perpetual basis from different angles, you create an innovative culture. And that's what we are trying to do. I'm not saying that we are the best as far as this is concerned, but this is something which appealed to me because the success or whatever, wherever we succeeded in Marico is two, I would say. One is to identify the right segment where we need to play, where we can win, and back it up either by a pioneering initiative or an innovative approach to an existing category where we can create a market. So with that, I'll end my talk. I think I've taken about 20 minutes or so. So thank you very much and all the best.